NASCAR's oldest driver, Morgan Shepherd. Morgan Shepherd is a race car driver who made starts in the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Craftsman Truck Series, ARCA Series, and the local short track circuit in the Southeast, spending time behind the wheel of some notable owners' race cars, such as Jim Stacy, Kenny Bernstein, Bud Moore, the Wood Brothers, and Butch, among a ton of others, making starts for over 30 different teams throughout his decades-long career. In fact, Shepherd had one of the longest careers in NASCAR history, competing from 1970 through 2019. Starting his racing career in 1967, when he began racing late models at Hickory Motor Speedway. While fast, Shepherd did wreck quite a bit that first season. For 1968, Shepherd began racing full-time in the hobby stock division at Hickory, behind the wheel of a 1955 Chevy. Having an amazing year, he won 21 out of 29 races throughout the 68 season, on his way to winning the series championship. In 1969, he would run the same race car, with a 1957 Chevy body this time. After winning another 7 races in the early part of the season, Shepherd wrecked, basically destroying his dominant race car. He did not win another race throughout the season, after putting a 1966 Chevy body on the chassis, later selling the race car to Harry Gant. The 1970 NASCAR Grand National, now NASCAR Cup Series season, saw Shepherd make his series debut at his home racetrack of Hickory Motor Speedway, behind the wheel of a number 93 Chevrolet owned by Bill Flowers. Starting 10th and following a mechanical failure on lap 68, he finished 19th. With all 3 of his starts ending in DNFs due to mechanical failures, his best start was 15th and his best finish was 14th, both coming at Hickory in the fall. Shepherd would go through some personal problems, putting the brakes on his career momentarily. He accepted Christ as his personal savior and began to get his life under control. This also applied to his racing career as well, becoming as focused and determined as ever to succeed. Shepherd made starts for 17 different car owners in 1975, on his way to finishing second in the NASCAR Sportsman Series championship to L.D. Ottinger. 7 years after making his NASCAR Cup Series debut, Morgan Shepherd made his return to the series, making 4 attempts, qualifying for 3 races, behind the wheel of Jim Maycar's number 84 Mercury. His best start was 10th, and his best finish was 10th, both coming at Dover in the spring. Again in 1978, Shepherd returned to Maycar's number 84, qualifying for his first career Daytona 500, starting 37th. Though following a lap 8 engine failure, he would finish 40th. Later in the spring, they qualified for the World 600 at Charlotte, starting 33rd and finishing 12th. After attempting the 1979 Daytona 500 and missing the field, Shepherd and Maycar parted ways. From there, he would start driving for Cliff Stewart, a businessman from North Carolina, in the NASCAR Sportsman Series, now the Xfinity Series, running well and winning in 1979, behind the wheel of a number 7 Pontiac. With Stewart as his owner, Shepherd won 9 races and finished second 21 times throughout the 1980 season, en route to the series championship. After the amazing season, the pair made the jump to the NASCAR Cup Series together. At last, in 1981, Morgan Shepherd made it to the NASCAR Cup Series on a full-time basis, behind the wheel of Cliff Stewart's number 5 Performance Connection Pontiac. Raymond Kelly began the season as his crew chief, though Darrell Bryant would replace him following race 18 in Nashville. Shepherd and Stewart began the season with plans to run the full schedule. They would DNQ the first 2 races of the season, and after a falling out between the two, they parted ways following race 20 in Talladega. Shepherd did find success in the number 5 before leaving the team. His best start was first at Richmond in the spring, and his best finish was first at Martinsville in the spring. This was both his first career Cup Series pole and victory. Overall, in 18 starts in that number 5, he scored 1 pole, 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 8 top 10s. The following race, at Michigan, Morgan Shepherd made a one-off start behind the wheel of Bud Reeder's number 02 Buick, starting 14th, and after a lap 20 accident, he finished 34th. Next, he would begin making starts for Cecil Gordon's number 24 Buick race team. Shepherd's best start was in that number 24 was 8th at Riverside in the fall, and his best finish in that number 24 was 6th at North Wilkesboro in the fall. Overall, in 7 starts in the number 24, he scored 2 top 10s. The final owner that Shepherd would make starts for in the 1981 season was Ron Benfield, one behind the wheel of the number 98 Levi Garrett Buick at Martinsville in the fall, starting 14th and finishing 28th after a lap 63 crash ended his race early. Then 2 starts behind the wheel of a number 96 Levi Garrett Buick. His best start was 15th, and his best finish was 27th, both coming at Rockingham in the fall. Overall, in 29 NASCAR Cup Series starts, he scored 1 pole, 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 10 top 10s, finishing 13th in final NASCAR Cup Series point standings. Not to mention making some late model sportsman, now Xfinity Series starts, behind the wheel of a number 7 Pontiac, finding some success, but not nearly the level he found the season prior in the series. The following season, in 1982, Morgan Shepherd settled with Benfield's number 98 team, full-time in the Cup Series. Buddy Parrott served as his crew chief in 1982. They had a pretty decent season, spending 6 weeks inside the top 5 and 23 weeks inside the top 10 in points throughout the season. Shepherd's best start was first, twice, at Nashville in the summer and Atlanta in the fall. His best finish was third at Bristol in the spring. Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, he scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 6 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 10th in final point standings. Then over on the Xfinity Series side of things, Shepherd made 12 starts for Ed Whitaker, 9 behind the wheel of a number 7 Oldsmobile and 3 behind the wheel of a number 98 Oldsmobile. His best start was first, twice, at Hickory in the spring and Bristol in the fall. His best finish was first, also twice, at Hickory in the spring and IRP in the late summer. Overall, in 12 starts, he scored 2 poles, 2 wins, 8 top 5s, and 8 top 10s, finishing 11th in final Xfinity Series point standings. At the conclusion of the 1982 season, Benefield and Shepherd parted ways. Going into the 1983 NASCAR Cup Series season, Shepherd did not have a full-time ride. Attempting to qualify Bud Reeder's number 02 and Joni Dunleavy's number 93 rides for the Daytona 500. The number 02 in time trials and the number 93 in the qualifying race, though he DNQ'd nonetheless. He made the first start of the season at Richmond, behind the wheel of a number 35 Ford for Wayne Bear. Starting 24th and following a blown head gasket, he finished 31st. A few races later, Shepherd made a one-off start for Cecil Gordon in his number 24 Chrysler. Starting 29th, and after a lap 263 mechanical failure, he finished 26th. 2 races later, he made another one-off start in Emmanuel Zerbakis' number 01 Buick at Martinsville, starting 15th, and after a lap 8 oil leak, he finished 32nd. Following the race at Martinsville, Mark Martin was released from Jim Stacy's number 2 Buick. Shepherd took over the number 2 ACM Equipment Sales Buick for the remainder of the 83 season. He was fast, basically either DNFing or finishing in the top 15. His best start was 5th at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 2nd at Daytona in the summer. Overall, in 23 starts, he scored 3 top 5s and 13 top 10s, finishing 20th in final Cup Series point standings. Once again, running a partial schedule in the Xfinity Series, making 18 starts for Ed Whitaker's number 7 Oldsmobiles and Pontiacs. His best start was first at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was first twice, at Bristol in the spring and Richmond in the fall. Overall, in 18 Xfinity Series starts, Shepherd scored 1 pole, 2 wins, 9 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 18th in final Xfinity Series point standings. Stacy sold his team at the conclusion of the 1983 season, leaving Shepherd without a ride. In 1984, Morgan made starts in the NASCAR Cup Series and what opportunities presented themselves. His first start came at Richmond in the spring, making a one-off start for Robert Harrington in a number 2 Levi Jeans Buick, starting 16th and finishing 13th. His next start came at Bristol in the spring, the first of 2 starts he made in Charlie Henderson's number 26 Food Country USA Buick. His best start was 9th at Bristol in the spring, and his best finish was 26th at Martinsville in the spring. At Darlington in the spring, he made his first of 4 starts in Dick Bahari's number 23 Chevrolet. His best start was 31st at Dover in the spring, and his best finish was 17th at Charlotte in the spring. In Michigan in the early summer, he made a one-off start in Phil Barkdahl's number 38 Chevrolet, starting 33rd and finishing 22nd. The next team that Shepherd made 2 starts in during the 84 Cup Series season was D.K. Ulrich's number 6 Buick. His best start was 25th at Nashville in the summer, and his best finish was 23rd at Charlotte in the fall. He made a one-off start for Jimmy Means' number 52 race team at Talladega in the summer, starting 36th, Following a blown engine on lap 105, he finished 30th. Roger Hamby put Morgan Shepherd behind the wheel of his number 17 Hesco Exhaust Systems Chevrolet for the next 6 starts. His best start was 10th at Bristol in the late summer, and his best finish was 12th at Richmond in the fall. The final team that he made starts for in the Cup Series throughout the 1984 season was Ron Benfield's number 98 Levi Garrett Chevrolet. His best start was 16th, and his best finish was 12th, both coming at Atlanta in the fall. Overall, in 20 starts, Shepherd scored 1 top 10, finishing 29th in final point standings. In the Xfinity Series, Shepherd made 15 starts for 2 different teams. One for Ed Whitaker, behind the wheel of a number 7 Oldsmobile at Rockingham in the spring, starting 22nd and finishing 7th. The remaining 14 starts were made for Linda White, behind the wheel of a number 1 Oldsmobile in Pontiac. Unfortunately, Shepherd was plagued by DNFs, netting 9 in the 14 starts. His best start was first at Bristol in the late summer, and his best finish was first 3 times at IRP in Bristol in the late summer and Martinsville in the fall. Overall, in 15 starts, he scored 1 pole, 3 wins, 4 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing 22nd in final Xfinity Series point standings. Once again, going into the 1985 NASCAR Cup Series season, Morgan Shepherd did not have a full-time ride. Therefore, he ran the Daytona 500 for Buddy Arrington's number 67 Chrysler race team, starting 36th and finishing 15th. At Rockingham, he made a one-off start in Dick Bahari's number 23 Chevrolet, starting 27th, and before an engine failure ended his race early, leaving him to finish 38th. Morgan made a one-off start at Petty Enterprises at Darlington in the spring, behind the wheel of a number 1 Ford, starting 24th, and after a lap 3:45 engine failure, he finished 18th. For the spring Martinsville race, Shepherd made his first of 4 starts behind the wheel of the number 16 Carolina Tool Chevrolet, owned by Bobby Hawkins. His best start was 3rd at Martinsville in the spring, and his best finish was 5th at Atlanta in the fall. He fielded his own race car at Talladega in the spring, a number 38 Chevrolet, starting 22nd and finishing 13th. For the World 600, held at Charlotte in the spring, Morgan made his first of 7 starts behind the wheel of Helen Ray Smith's 00 Chevrolet. His best start was 10th at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 22nd in Dover in the fall. Shepherd's final different team that he made starts for in the Cup Series in 1985 was Wayne Bayer's number 35 Hanover Printing Ford race team. At Rockingham in the fall, starting 26th and following an engine failure on lap 123, he finished 39th. Overall, in 16 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s, finishing 31st in final Cup Series point standings. The Xfinity Series was not much better for Shepherd, making 11 starts between a few different rides. At Daytona in the spring, Shepherd made a one-off start behind the wheel of a number 84 Pontiac, starting 4th and finishing 5th. At Rockingham, he made another one-off start behind the wheel of a number 39 Beauregard's Deli Pontiac, starting 25th, and after an overheating issue ended his race early, he finished 24th. For the spring race at Hickory, Shepherd made his first of 6 starts behind the wheel of Linda White's number 1 Advanced Auto Parts Buick. His best start was 3rd twice at Hickory and Bristol in the spring. His best finish was 5th at Martinsville in the spring. Shepherd made another one-off start at Darlington in the spring in a number 06 Pontiac, starting 26th and finishing 31st, following a blown engine on lap 64. Returning to Ed Whitaker's number 7 Oldsmobile for the final 2 starts of the season. His best start was 16th at Rockingham in the fall, and his best finish was 29th at Charlotte in the fall. Overall, in 11 starts, he scored 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s, finishing 27th in final Xfinity Series point standings, also making a one-off start at IRP in the spring, behind the wheel of Linda White's number 1 Buick, starting 11th and finishing 9th in the ARCA Series. For the 1986 NASCAR Cup Series season, Shepherd began the season behind the wheel of Jack Beebe's number 47 Race Hill Farms Buick, only running the bigger speedways longer than 1 mile. Jake Elder served as his crew chief while driving the number 47 in 1986. Together, they would find success at the select starts that they would make. Shepherd's best start was 3rd, and his best finish was 1st, both coming at Atlanta in the spring, leading 97 laps on his way to victory. Overall, in 12 starts, he scored 1 win, 3 top 5s and 6 top 10s. At Bristol, Shepherd made a one-off start in Elmo Langley's number 64 Ford. Starting 30th and following a blown engine on lap 22, he finished 31st. Another one-off start was made at North Wilkesboro in the spring, behind the wheel of James Hilton's number 48 Chevrolet, starting 22nd and finishing 19th. The spring Martinsville race saw Shepherd make the final one-off start of the season that he would have to, behind the wheel of Bobby Eller's number 94 Kodak Film Pontiac, starting 21st and finishing 19th. At race 12 in Riverside, Shepherd made his first of 11 starts behind the wheel of Raymock Enterprises number 75 Nationwide Auto Parts Pontiac. Robin Pemberton served as the crew chief while he drove the number 75. Morton's best start was 5th at Atlanta in the fall, and his best finish was 3rd at Richmond in the fall. Overall, in 11 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. Throughout the entire 1986 Cup Series season, in 27 starts, Shepherd scored 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 8 top 10s, finishing 18th in final Cup Series point standings. As for the Xfinity Series season, he made 14 starts throughout the 86 season, making 13 starts in Ed Whitaker's number 7 Buicks and Pontiacs. His best start was 1st at Dover in the fall, and his best finish was 1st 4 times at Martinsville and Bristol in the spring, then Dover and Rockingham in the fall. Also making a one-off start in a self-owned number 17 at Martinsville in the fall, starting 3rd and finishing 16th. Overall, in 14 starts, he scored 1 pole, 4 wins, 5 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing 24th in final Xfinity Series point standings. Drag racing champion Kenny Bernstein hired Shepherd to drive his number 26 Quaker State Buick full-time for the 1987 NASCAR Cup Series season. Larry McReynolds served as his crew chief in 1987. At times, Shepherd gave that number 26 some excellent runs. They were typically quick during the race, but sometimes would struggle to get the finishes that they should have gotten. Morgan's best start was 1st at Martinsville in the spring, and his best finish was 2nd at Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 29 starts, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 7 top 5s, and 11 top 10s, finishing 17th in final Cup Series point standings. Over in the Xfinity Series, Shepherd had a pretty decent season. In the select starts, he made primarily in a self-owned number 97 Winter Circle Products Buick. His best start was 3rd at Charlotte in the spring, and his best finish was 1st 3 times at Bristol in the spring, Road Atlanta in the summer, and Rockingham in the fall. Overall, in 12 starts, he scored 3 wins, 6 top 5s, and 8 top 10s, finishing 24th in final Xfinity Series point standings. Making 2 one-off starts, one behind the wheel of Dale Shaw's number 68 Chevrolet at Oxford in the summer, starting 4th. Following a broken axle on lap 101, he finished 39th. At Martinsville in the fall, Shepherd started and parked Lester Burnett's number 09 Oldsmobile, starting and finishing 32nd. As had become the theme to the majority of the season for Morgan Shepherd in 1988, he jumped from ride to ride throughout the NASCAR Cup Series season, starting the first 3 races in Tom Winkle's number 97 AC Sparkplug Buick. His best start was 1st at Richmond in the spring, and his best finish was 7th in Rockingham in the spring. His next 3 starts would be made in a self-owned number 47 Buick. His best start was 14th at Darlington in the spring, and his best finish was 26th at Charlotte in the spring. Starting at race 11 in Dover, Morgan began serving as a fill-in driver for Harry Gant in the number 33 Skull Bandit Chevrolet. Travis Carter served as his crew chief while driving the number 33. His best start was 8th at Daytona in the summer, and his best finish was 2nd at Dover in the spring. Overall, in 5 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. Immediately after Shepherd was done filling in for Gant, he was asked to fill in for Neil Bonnet, while he had to sit out of his Raymock Enterprises number 75 Valvoline Buick due to gallbladder surgery. His best start was 1st, and his best finish was 6th, both coming at Pocono in the summer. Starting at Watkins Glen, he made the first of 3 starts behind the wheel of the Baker Schiff number 88 Red Baron Frozen Pizza Oldsmobile. His best start was 7th at Watkins Glen in the summer, and his best finish was 4th at Michigan in the late summer. Beginning at Bristol in the late summer, Shepherd started fielding his own race car, a number 57 Buick, for 7 attempts, qualifying for 7 races. His best start was 10th at Darlington in the fall, and his best finish was 14th at Rockingham in the fall. For the final race of the season in Atlanta, Raymock Enterprises purchased Shepherd's race team from him. starting 17th and finishing 40th after a mechanical failure on lap 51. Overall, in 23 Cup Series starts, he scored 2 poles, 0 wins, 2 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing 28th in final Cup Series point standings. Back in the Xfinity Series, Shepherd made 14 starts behind the wheel of his self-owned number 97 Buick. His best start was second, and his best finish was first, both coming at IRP in the late summer, also making 3 one-off starts for different teams throughout the season. For the spring Bristol race, he was behind the wheel of Sweeney Racing's number 05 Chevrolet, starting 16th and finishing 29th. At Oxford in the summer, Shepherd returned to Del Shaw's number 68 Budweiser Pontiac, starting 42nd and finishing 17th. In the fall, Martinsville, he made a start in Hubert Hensley's number 63 Texas Pete Hot Sauces Chevrolet, starting 9th and finishing 6th. Overall, in 17 starts, he scored 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 6 top 10s, finishing 24th in final Xfinity Series point standings for the 3rd straight season. The 1989 NASCAR Cup Series season saw Morgan Shepherd move to the Raymock Enterprises team full-time, behind the wheel of their number 75 Valvoline Pontiac. At times, Shepherd looked as strong as anyone, though at other times they lacked a little speed, working his way from roughly 20th up to the top 15 in points throughout the season. Shepherd's best start was first at Watkins Glen in the summer, and his best finish was second twice at Daytona and Michigan in the summer. Overall, in 29 starts, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 5 top 5s, and 13 top 10s, finishing 13th in final Cup Series point standings. In the Xfinity Series, Shepherd made 7 starts for 4 different teams, 2 in his self-owned number 97 Valvoline Chevrolet. His best start was 3rd, and his best finish was 15th, both coming at Daytona in the spring. 2 in a David Pearson number 90 Daly's Fruit Juice Buick. His best start was 1st at Bristol in the late summer, and his best finish was 10th at IRP in the late summer, as well as 2 starts in Bill Edwards' number 09 Ford, starting 25th at both Charlotte and Rockingham in the fall. His best finish was 37th at Charlotte in the fall. The final start Shepherd made in the 1989 Xfinity Series season was for Dwight Huffman behind the wheel of his number 77 Buick, starting 19th and finishing 6th. Overall, in 7 starts, he scored 1 pole, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, and 2 top 10s, as well as making a one-off ARCA Series start at Oxford in the summer, behind the wheel of Del Shaw's number 80 Budweiser Pontiac, starting 21st and finishing 8th. As the world moved into a brand new decade, in 1990, Shepherd would end up having his career-best NASCAR Cup Series season, behind the wheel of Bud Moore's number 15 Motorcraft Ford full-time. Donnie Wingo served as his crew chief starting in 1990, finding consistency, victory lane, and even the series point lead for a week. This would be the only time in his entire career. Over in the Xfinity Series, Shepherd made sporadic starts for a few different teams, 3 in a self-owned number 97 Texas Pete Hot Sauces Ford. His best start was 18th, and his best finish was 3rd, both coming at Rockingham in the spring. 1 in Dwight Huffman's number 77 Oldsmobile at Hickory in the spring, starting 20th and finishing 24th. Also making 9 starts for Mike Swain, 8 in a number 9 and 1 in a number 18 Texas Pete Hot Sauces Chevrolet. Rick Wren would serve as his crew chief while he drove for Mike Swain. His best start was 8th at Nazareth in the spring, and his best finish was 4th twice at Nazareth in the spring and Loudon in the summer. Overall, in 12 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s. Of course, Shepherd returned to Bud Moore's number 15 Ford in 1991 following their successful outing the season prior. 91 was another successful season, just not to the level of 1990. His best start was 9th at North Wilkesboro in the fall, and his best finish was 3rd twice at Dover and North Wilkesboro in the fall. Overall, in 29 Cup Series starts, he scored 4 top 5s and 14 top 10s, finishing 12th in final Cup Series point standings. With sponsorship from Texas Pete Hot Sauces, Shepherd fielded his number 97 Ford in the Xfinity Series on a select schedule, producing a few solid runs, though out of 16 starts, he DNF'd 12 times. His best start was 2nd at Charlotte in the fall, and his best finish was 5th at Richmond in the fall. Overall, in 16 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. At the conclusion of the 91 season, Moore and Shepherd parted ways. The next season, in 1992, Morgan Shepherd would switch to another one of NASCAR's vintage owners, the Wood brothers, behind the wheel of their number 21 Sitco Ford. Shepherd began the season strong, finishing no worse than 13th the first 9 races of the season, starting the year near the top of the point standings, slowly falling back to almost 15th by season's end. Morgan's best start was second at Pocono in the spring, and his best finish was second twice at Pocono in the spring and Watkins Glen in the summer. Overall, in 29 starts, he scored 3 top 5s and 11 top 10s, finishing 14th in final Cup Series point standings. Back in the Xfinity Series, Shepherd made 11 starts throughout the 92 season, all in his self-owned equipment. The first 3 in a number 97, and the final 8 in a number 21 Ford. His best start was second at IRP in the late summer, and his best finish was third at Charlotte in the spring. Overall, in 11 Xfinity Series starts, Shepherd scored 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s. Shepherd also made a one-off start in the ARCA Series, in the number 80 Pontiac, at Oxford, starting 43rd and finishing 13th. In 1993, Shepherd reprised his role as driver of the Wood Brothers Racing number 21 Sitco Ford. This would end up being the final season he would ever find victory lane. His best start was third at Richmond in the spring, and his best finish was first at Atlanta in the spring. Overall, in 30 starts, he scored 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 15 top 10s, finishing 7th in final Cup Series point standings. Shepherd would remain with the Wood Brothers for 1994 and 95. Between the 2 seasons, he would make 62 Cup Series starts. His best start was third at Pocono in the summer of 95, and his best finish was second 3 times, in Atlanta in the spring and Charlotte in the fall of 1994, then Loudon in the summer of 1995. Overall, in 62 Cup Series starts, he scored 13 top 5s and 26 top 10s, with the best points finish of 6th in 1994. The Xfinity Series saw Shepherd make 15 starts behind the wheel of his self-owned number 21 Ford. His best start was 5th at Darlington in the spring of 94. His best finish was 5th at Rockingham in the spring of 95. Overall, in 15 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. Another event Shepherd ran in 1993 was an ARCA race held in Loudon in the summer, starting 10th and finishing 6th. The Wood brothers and Shepherd parted ways at the conclusion of the 1995 season. Shepherd returned to the number 75, once Raymock Enterprises, now known as Butch Motorsports, Remington Arms Ford full-time, for the 1996 NASCAR Cup Series season. Troy Selberg began the season as his crew chief until race 13 at Pocono, when Kierkennen took over. Starting the year with some bad finishes, through the season they began running a lot more competitive, especially after Kennan came aboard. Shepherd's best start was second at Pocono in the summer, and his best finish was 5th at Indianapolis in the summer. Overall, in 31 starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 5 top 10s, finishing 19th in final Cup Series point standings, only making 2 Xfinity Series starts behind the wheel of Bobby Jones' number 50 UAW Ford. His best start was 19th, and his best finish was 36th, both coming at Bristol in the late summer. Mock and Shepherd parted ways at the conclusion of the 96 season. In fact, 1996 would end up being Shepherd's final NASCAR Cup Series season, in which he would qualify for every event. At this point, he was in his mid-50s, and it was becoming a lot more difficult to land competitive rides in an ever-changing market that is the NASCAR Cup Series. That following season, in 1997, Shepherd began and ended the season driving for Richard Jackson's Precision Products Racing, number 1 Pontiac team, making the first 12 starts of the year for Jackson, as well as the final 5. In the middle, he moved over to Jasper Motorsports for 11 attempts, only qualifying 5 times. His best start in that number 77 was 15th at Michigan in the late summer, and his best finish in that number 77 was 24th at California in the summer. All for the 17 starts Shepherd made behind the wheel of Jackson's number 1 Pontiac. His best start was 10th at Charlotte in the fall, and his best finish was 3rd at Atlanta in the spring. This was his final top 5 finish of his Cup Series career. Overall, in 23 Cup Series starts, he scored 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s, finishing 38th in final Cup Series point standings, only making 3 Xfinity Series starts, 2 in Bobby Jones' number 50 Pontiac, with the best start of 11th and a best finish of 16th, both coming at Bristol in the spring. The other start he made was in a self-owned number 07 Jasper Pontiac at Michigan in the late summer, starting 38th and finishing 32nd. Shepherd made his Craftsman Truck Series debut at Nazareth in the summer, behind the wheel of number 13 Chevrolet, owned by Mike Calabusi, starting 26th and finishing 28th after a lap 147 engine failure. Things continued to decline for Shepherd in the NASCAR Cup Series through the 1998 season, attempting the first 3 races behind the wheel of a self-owned number 05 Pontiac, DNQing each attempt. The 6th race of the season at Bristol, Shepherd qualified the number 46 First Union Chevrolet, owned by Felix Sabates, starting 12th and finishing 24th. A few races later, he made his second start in the number 46 at California, starting 10th and finishing 24th. Next, he served as a fill-in driver for Mike Skinner for 2 starts, behind the wheel of RCR's number 31 Lowe's Chevrolet. His best start was 5th at Talladega in the spring, and his best finish was 24th at California in the spring. Shepherd's first start of the season for the Stavola brothers came at Michigan in the early summer, behind the wheel of their number 8 Circuit City Chevrolet. Starting 26th, and after an electrical issue, ended his day early on lap 66, leaving him to finish 43rd. Joe Falk's number 91 Chevrolet happened to be the next ride that Shepherd attempted Cup races in, qualifying for 6 events. His best start was 7th at Pocono in the summer, and his best finish was 15th at Indianapolis in the summer. The Fall Dover race was attempted in Buzz McCall's number 96 Caterpillar Chevrolet, but he DNQ'd. Then Shepherd's final start of the 1998 NASCAR Cup Series season came in Atlanta, behind the wheel of the Stavola brothers, number 8 Nokia Kendall Chevrolet. Now Shepherd may have qualified that number 8 Chevy back in the 32nd position, but 2/3 of the way into the race, he was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, even working his way well into the top 10, only for Jeff Gordon to have hit him in the right rear quarter panel, making him back that number 8 into the fence. After such a strong run, Shepherd finished 39th. This would end up being the Stavola brothers' final start before closing their doors. Back down in the Xfinity Series, he only made a one-off start for Mac Martin at Texas in the spring, behind the wheel of his number 92 Kraft Chevrolet. Starting 13th and following a lap 154 engine failure, Morgan finished 32nd. Shepherd began the 1999 NASCAR Cup Series season attempting the Daytona 500 behind the wheel of Phil Martossi's number 81 Ford. Though he DNQ'd, the only Cup Series race he in fact did qualify for was at Rockingham in the spring, behind the wheel of Jenny Dunleavy's number 90, attempting 2 other races also. He started 39th and finished 32nd, as well as several other attempts for both his own number 05 and Joe Falk's number 91, DNQing every time. Over in the Xfinity Series, he made 5 attempts, only qualifying for the spring Rockingham event, behind the wheel of Steve Coulter's number 61 IWX Motor Freight Pontiac, starting 11th and finishing 10th. As the world would reach the year 2000, Morgan Shepherd attempted a single NASCAR Cup Series event, DNQing for the fall Atlanta race for Stan Hoover. Also attempting 2 Xfinity Series races, DNQing for both of them as well, though he did begin making Craftsman Truck Series attempts here and there, attempting 8 races, qualifying for 3 races. 2 behind the wheel of a number 7 Chevrolet. His best start was 22nd, and his best finish was 17th, both coming at Homestead in the spring. The other start came in Nashville in the late summer, behind the wheel of Andy Campbell's number 69 Chevrolet, starting 25th, finishing 32nd after a lap 56 engine failure. Also making 5 ARCA Series starts behind the wheel of Stan Hoover's number 80 Ford. His best start was 7th, and his best finish was 6th, both coming at Pocono in the summer. Overall, in 5 starts, he scored 2 top 10s. Once again, in 2001, Shepherd only competed in the Craftsman Truck Series on a select schedule basis, in a self-owned number 21 Ford. His best start was 14th at South Boston in the fall, and his best finish was 11th at Daytona in the spring. Overall, in 16 Craftsman Truck Series starts, he scored 1 top 15 and 2 top 20s, finishing 25th in final point standings. Again, in the NASCAR Cup Series, Shepherd attempted 2 events, one in Stan Hoover's number 80 Hayes Jewelers Ford, DNQing the Daytona 500, also attempting the final race held in 2001 at Loudon, the rescheduled race that was originally scheduled for the weekend following the September 11th terrorist attacks. Behind the wheel of his self-owned number 89 Racing for Jesus Ford, though he DNQ'd for that event as well. Also attempting the Xfinity Series race at Homestead in the fall in a number 89 Ford. He also DNQ'd for that. In 2002, Morgan qualified for his first NASCAR Cup Series race in 3 years, making 5 starts altogether behind the wheel of his self-owned number 89 Ford, attempting 9 races in all. His best start was 42nd at Darlington in the fall, and his best finish was 40th twice at Loudon in the summer and Kansas in the fall. Also making 2 attempts in Rick Ware's number 51 Dodge, missing the field both times. Not even attempting a single race in the Xfinity Series in 2002. Returning to the Craftsman Truck Series, attempting 15 events behind the wheel of his own number 21 Ford, qualifying for 13 races. His best start was 16th twice, at Martinsville in the spring and Homestead in the fall. His best finish was 17th at Richmond in the fall. Also making 2 starts for Rick Ware, one in the number 81 at Kansas in the summer, starting 23rd and finishing 32nd, then one in the number 51 at Loudon in the summer, starting 21st and finishing 30th. Overall, in 15 Craftsman Truck Series starts, he scored 1 top 20 and finished 24th in final point standings. By this point, Morgan had long since become one of the oldest drivers at the ripe young age of 61 come the 2003 season, making 7 attempts in the NASCAR Cup Series, qualifying twice. His best start was 42nd, and his best finish was 43rd at Loudon in the summer. Over in the Xfinity Series, Shepard made 22 attempts, qualifying for 14 events, 4 in a number 89 Racing for Jesus Ford, with a best start of 30th at Phoenix in the fall, and his best finish of 40th twice at Charlotte and Phoenix in the fall. 10 for Johnny Davis, 3 in a number 70, and 7 in a number 0, with a best start of 21st at Dover in the spring, and his best finish was 11th at Talladega in the spring. Again in the Craftsman Truck Series, Shepard would field a self-owned number 21 Ford for 16 starts. His best start was 14th at IRP in the summer, and his best finish was 24th at Darlington in the spring. Through 16 starts, Shepard finished 28th in final Craftsman Truck Series point standings. With costs rising and the ability to find adequate sponsorship becoming difficult for smaller teams, in 2004 there presented an opportunity for some to return to the NASCAR Cup Series, including Morgan Shepard. Underfunded smaller teams did something called starting and parking. It's where a team would run a qualifying lap fast enough to make the field, then, in the first dozen or so laps of the race, they would go behind the wall, retiring from the event, collecting whatever prize money a 40-something position finish would pay. Shepard did this with his number 89 Racing with Jesus Dodge, attempting 32 NASCAR Cup Series races, qualifying for 19 of them. His best start was 38th at Darlington in the spring, and his best finish was 32nd at Martinsville in the spring. As far as the Xfinity Series, Shepard attempted 8 races for several different teams, qualifying twice for Rick Ware, one in number 57 and one in number 51. His best start was 38th at Bristol in the spring, and his best finish was 34th at Richmond in the spring. Again, returning to the NASCAR Cup Series in 2005, attempting 20 events, only qualifying 4 times, behind the wheel of his self-owned numbered 89 Victory in Jesus Redline Oil Dodge. His best start was 39th at Loudon in the summer, and his best finish was 40th at Las Vegas in the spring. Again, attempting 15 Cup Series races in 2006, only qualifying for 2 in his number 89 Dodge. His best start was 41st, and his best finish was 42nd, both coming at Loudon in the fall. Also making 6 starts and parks in the Xfinity Series, 5 in Johnny Davis's number 0, and 1 in Wayne Day's number 05 Chevrolet. His best start was 33rd twice, at Charlotte in the spring and Kentucky in the summer. His best finish was 40th in Nashville in the summer. Beginning in 2007, Shepard transferred the vast majority of his racing efforts toward the Xfinity Series, attempting 25 events altogether, between 2 different teams, 5 in Johnny Davis's number 01 Chevrolet. His best start was 38th twice at California and Nashville in the spring. His best finish was 40th at Phoenix in the spring. 16 in his self-owned number 89 Victory in Jesus Dodge. His best start was 30th 3 times at Loudon and Gateway in the summer, and Phoenix in the fall. And his best finish was 38th 3 times at Dover both races, then Montreal in the summer. Returning to the Craftsman Truck Series after several seasons, Shepard made 3 starts, 2 in Curtis Key's number 44 Chevrolet. His best start was 32nd at California in the spring, and his best finish was 33rd at Atlanta in the spring. 1 in Gene Christensen's number 06 Chevrolet at Dover in the early summer, starting 33rd and finishing 29th after an overheating issue, ended his race early on lap 18. For the 2008 Xfinity Series season, Shepard returned to his number 89 Victory in Jesus Dodge full-time, only DNQing 8 times throughout the season. His best start was 14th at Daytona in the summer, and his best finish was 13th at Talladega in the spring. Overall, in 27 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 1 top 15 and 2 top 20s, finishing 29th in final point standings. Back in the Craftsman Truck Series, Morgan only made a one-off start at California in the spring, behind the wheel of Curtis Key's number 44 Chevrolet, starting 33rd and finishing 34th. The 2009 Xfinity Series season saw Shepard attempt the entire schedule, qualifying for 21 races in his number 89 Chevrolet. His best start was 10th at Daytona in the summer, and his best finish was 13th at Las Vegas in the spring. Overall, in 21 starts, he scored 1 top 15 and 5 top 20s, finishing 30th in final Xfinity Series point standings. As had become the norm for Morgan Shepard by 2010, he intended to attempt the entire Xfinity Series schedule behind the wheel of his number 89 Chevrolet, running the first 17 races of the season in that number 89. John West Townley had began driving Richard Childress Racing's number 21 Chevrolet full-time for the 2010 season, though poor performance would lose Townley his ride. Thus, Zaxby's Chicken, a business owned by Townley's father, immediately cut back their full-time sponsorship of the number 21. Childress would then offer Shepard an opportunity to run that number 21 for the 13 starts that Childress didn't have the car sponsorship sold, in a joint effort to keep the number 21 in a reasonable owner's points position. His best start was 19th twice at IRP in Iowa in the summer, and his best finish was 18th at Gateway in the fall. Overall, in 27 starts, he scored 2 top 20s, finishing 28th in final Xfinity Series point standings. The following season, in 2011, Shepard again returned to the Xfinity Series, running the entire schedule, qualifying his number 89 Victory in Jesus Chevrolet for every single event. His best start was 21st at Phoenix in the fall, and his best finish was 18th at Las Vegas in the spring. Overall, in 34 starts, he scored 1 top 20, finishing 21st in final Xfinity Series point standings. At the age of 70, Morgan Shepard continued to be the oldest driver to be attempting a full schedule in any of the top 3 series of NASCAR. In 2012, making 21 Xfinity Series starts, his best start was 28th at Iowa in the spring, and his best finish was 22nd twice at Las Vegas and Darlington in the spring, finishing 29th in final point standings. Bob Keselowski would field a NASCAR Cup Series entry in 2013, a number 52 Toyota for Shepard at Loudon in the summer, starting and finishing 41st. Attempting 19 Xfinity Series events behind the wheel of his self-owned number 89 Chevrolet and Dodge. His best start was 31st in Daytona in the summer, and his best finish was 27th at Dover in the fall, as well as making a one-off start in the Craftsman Truck Series behind the wheel of Norm Benning's number 75 Chevrolet, starting and parking at Texas in the fall. Morgan would make the final 2 NASCAR Cup Series starts of his decades and decades-long career in 2014, attempting the Daytona 500 for BK Racing behind the wheel of a number 93 Toyota, but DNQing. Then making 1 start in Joe Nemechek's number 87 Toyota at Phoenix in the spring, starting 42nd and finishing 43rd following a brake failure on lap 28. Later in the season, at Loudon in the summer, he made a one-off start for Joe Falk in the number 33 Chevrolet, starting 43rd and finishing 39th, making Shepard the oldest driver to make a NASCAR Cup Series start at the age of 72. Though Shepard did make contact with Joey Logano, leading him to make the remark, "There should be a driver's test before letting you drive a Cup Series car, just to make sure you can even drive one." Shows you how much Logano knows his NASCAR history, don't it? Over in the Xfinity Series, he attempted 14 races, qualifying for 8 of them, behind the wheel of his self-owned number 89 Chevrolet. His best start was 30th at Richmond in the fall, and his best finish was 35th twice in Atlanta and Dover in the fall. Refocusing his racing efforts on the Xfinity Series exclusively, attempting 27 events, qualifying for 20 throughout the 2015 season. His best start was 29th at Daytona in the summer. His best finish was 33rd twice at Kentucky and Dover in the fall. Throughout the season, he ended up 34th in final Xfinity Series point standings, also making his final Craftsman Truck Series start of his career in Atlanta in the spring, behind the wheel of Mark Beaver's number 1 Chevrolet, starting 30th and finishing 27th. Over the next 2 seasons, Shepherd would make 42 starts in his number 89 Chevrolet in the Xfinity Series. His best start was 23rd at Talladega in the spring of 2017, and his best finish was 32nd at Dover in the fall of 2017. His best points finish was 36th in 2016. In 2018, Morgan Shepherd attempted 27 Xfinity Series races, qualifying for 20 events throughout the season, behind the wheel of his self-owned number 89 Bi-Zone RB Chevrolet. His best start was 28th at Dover in the spring, and his best finish was 32nd at Indianapolis in the fall. Landon Cassill also made a one-off start in Shepherd's number 89 Chevrolet at Homestead in the fall, starting 24th and finishing 38th. For the 2019 Xfinity Series season, Shepherd attempted 15 races, qualifying for 12 in his number 89 Chevrolet. His best start was 29th at Iowa in the summer, and his best finish was 31st at California in the spring. Cassill made 10 starts in that number 89. His best start was 9th at Las Vegas in the fall, and his best finish was 15th at Homestead in the fall. Morgan had made his final NASCAR start on September 7th, 2019 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Cassill replaced him in his number 89 for the beginning of the 2020 Xfinity Series season, making the first 3 starts of the season before the world was shut down due to COVID-19. Once NASCAR returned, Shepherd's team only entered the first race back at Darlington before shutting down the race team due to the lack of sponsorship and the fact the price to compete continues to rise. Cassill's best start was 16th, and his best finish was 35th, both coming at Phoenix in the spring. In November 2020, Shepherd announced that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. What a career, spanning from 1970 through 2019 in NASCAR alone. There's no question why Morgan Shepherd is known as NASCAR's oldest driver. So, in 517 NASCAR Cup Series starts, he scored 7 poles, 4 wins, 63 top 5s, and 168 top 10s, with the best points finish of 5th in 1990. In 453 Xfinity Series starts, he scored 6 poles, 15 wins, 44 top 5s, and 67 top 10s, with the best points finish of 11th in 1982. In 57 Craftsman Truck Series starts, he scored 0 poles, 0 wins, 0 top 5s, and 0 top 10s, with the best points finish of 24th in 2002. In over 100 NASCAR Sportsman Series starts, he scored 14 poles, 19 wins, 34 top 5s, and 87 top 10s, with the best points finish of 1st in 1980. In 11 ARCA Series starts, he scored 5 top 10s. Thanks for watching, everyone, and take care.